It was a Sunday morning, and Cameron and I had gone to church at Inland Hills. He was chatting up a storm about his plans, his school, his real estate license, his new girlfriend. And when we finished all that up, he took off to the library to do some studying. And at 8:24, he calls me and he said, "Hey, Mom, it's me." He talks a few minutes and he said, "I'm gonna head home in about 10 minutes. I said, "Great." I said, "Love you, buddy." He said, "Love you, Mama." And he had this really raspy voice that always made you smile. And that was the last time that I got to hear that voice.
We had gotten Brian a motorized scooter for his 15th birthday, which was the week before. And so then he had driven around the neighborhood and different things like that. And so I got a call from our friend Bruce, and he said I needed to come home right away because Brian had been in an accident.
We just moved into a new house. I don't know, as a mom, you can kind of picture your kids in the future. You can imagine your family around the table. One day it hit me and I just thought, I don't see my son in the future. And it was very alarming because those are not things I've ever thought of. When I went to put him to sleep that night, I remember just singing to him and rocking him and saying, "Please, God, don't take him from me. Let me sing to him every night."
I remember getting this foreboding feeling that something wasn't right. Cameron should have been home by now. I just knew something was wrong. So I got in the car and I began to drive the route that I knew he would take. And there's a police car there and there's police tape and the road is closed. And I knew. And I began to say, oh God, what is going on?
The ambulance was there and the paramedics were there and everything, and they were just covering him up. And so I just lost it at that point. He was on his way to meet one of his friends. A car was coming 5 seconds before the accident. He was going 67 miles an hour with, like 40% on the gas. 3 seconds it was the same, 2 seconds the same. 1 second before impact it was like 100% on brake. And
I got up and went to work that next day, and my husband was home with him, and he went to wake him up from his nap, and he had passed away.
The investigating officer came up, asked me my name, and I told him, and he confirmed that it was Cameron. And just as I'm about to say, can I go down there? He said, "I'm sorry, he didn't make it." And I had to tell you, everything in me wanted to reject that truth. No. It was such a violent rejection of the truth that I threw up. At 2:30 a.m., the coroner brought him up because we refused to leave and allowed us to see him, and I gave him one last kiss on the cheek, and he looked so perfect. He just looked like he was sleeping. And again, that whole debate between my heart and my mind, the truth and what I didn't want to be, it just kept fighting itself. And I still fight that battle today. My heart still has not reconciled with the truth that my mind knows that he's gone.
I really struggled. I was really angry. And then I started to feel guilty. I started to feel like it was my fault. If God could tell me that he wasn't going to live, then why didn't God save him?
Didn't really blame God, but it's just like, why?
Why? Why, God? Why my son? Why Cameron? Why is this happening? I have a tendency to argue with God sometimes. And I said, God, I don't get it. You've had me tell women that no matter what their circumstances are, even when they can't fathom anything good coming out of their circumstances, to trust you. And I said, now here I am, and I can't fathom anything good coming from this circumstance. And I knew right then and there, I had a choice to make. I was either going to trust him or I was going to turn away.
I know there were times when I was on my knees praying to God. I think I was just begging God to show me that he was there. I would literally, if in my deepest pain, I would just close my eyes and I would imagine God at the end of a tunnel, and that someday we're gonna be with him and you're gonna get me through this. I knew I had to get through it.
As time has passed, I really thought I need to get to know God because that's where my son is. My son is in heaven with God, with Jesus, and I need to know him. I need to make sure he's being taken well care of.
I've experienced things that I never thought I would experience to the depths that I never knew were possible. And grief is just so unpredictable. The only predictable thing about it is God's presence in it. He's been there the whole time. He's never left me. Faithful to his promises. He's loved me in amazing ways. And when I tell people that, sometimes they say, how could God have allowed this to happen to Cameron? He was such a good kid, and he had such a gift of making people smile and make them feel good. And why wouldn't God want him here on this earth to keep doing that? That makes no sense. It doesn't make sense, and it will never make sense to me on this side.
I have just made it my mission to get to know God, and I learned, that it was God telling me he was going to be there for me, that he is all-knowing, and he was going to be there for me, and he has been.
And I think God also sent us people being God's hands and feet, and surrounding us and giving just a lot of love to us.
There were probably 40 or 50 people on that corner with us till 2:30 a.m. And I learned that night what it means to just be with someone in their sorrow. Sometimes I wake up and I think, was it a bad dream? Is this the day, that I'll wake from it? And I don't know that that'll ever change. We'll see. We're 5 years in, we'll see.
Some things, you can't ever explain. And, it's like why things happen, we don't know.
The boy who hit him, he was having a really difficult time with this. I ended up just sitting down one day and I just wrote him a letter, just, telling him that we are not blaming him, and, things happen. And I cried the whole way through the letter, but it really helped them get through what they were going through.
What God gave me in this season was peace, hope, strength, and the desire to want to know him better and to grow in my relationship so I can share that with other people.
I miss him more and more every day. And that darkness inside of me grows every day. That hollowness expands. And I don't know that that'll ever stop. But I will say that God has loved me and given me grace and mercy and peace beyond the depths of the suffering.